Trillion Dollar Man back with you to talk about altitude and attitude. Look, you're the CEO of a public company. You need to know one thing. You need to get maximum altitude right now, not tomorrow, not next week. Now, what am I talking about? I'm talking about your stock price and your liquidity. Look, stock price liquidity that gives you optionality, that gives you, if you don't know what optionality is, it means it gives you options. Let's talk about altitude. What do I mean by gain altitude? Look, which company do you think has a better chance of success? The one whose stock price is trading at 10 cents or the one whose stock price is trading at $2? $2 or 10 cents? Which one do you think has easier access to capital? The one that's trading a million shares a day at $2 or the one that's trading 100,000 shares at 10 cents? Think about it. Which of these companies will have access to employees? Which one can make acquisitions on favorable terms? Look, which one is going to succeed? And we all know the stock price is the tail that wags the dog. I hate to break it to you. It's not your business. It's not your business genius that's going to make your company succeed. Ultimately, it's really going to be your stock price. Look, if your stock is increasing, if it's going from 10 cents to $2, volume is exploding, your business will succeed. Your business will succeed. You know why? Because that gives you access to talent. You're going to be able to track top talent with the stock options, especially if you're a tech company. Look, you're not gonna get, you can't compete. You cannot compete for top tech talent with the likes of some of these startups in Silicon Valley, the ones that are giving massive options to their employees. They're paying developers 200 grand a year, kids out of school, loading up with $1 million worth of options. You can't do that if your stock is trading at 10 cents because those guys are private. So there's still that blue sky potential. Yours is, you're a known quantity. If your stock is 10 cents, they see what's going on. They're not going to join you. Forget about raising capital. You're going to, it's going to be very expensive, highly dilutive. You're going to get washed out. You're going to get wiped out. Your investors are going to get wiped out. This is why I talk about getting altitude. Look, when a plane is taking off, in order to get altitude, the pilot puts the throttle at full throttle, maximum to get maximum, the maximum air, to get airspeed, right? You need to go at a certain very high speed so that you get that airspeed. So the air goes into the airline, whatever, however it works. You know what I'm talking about, right? If you don't do it, if you have low power, you're going to run out of runway. Okay. You're not going to make it because the plane is not going to get airspeed. It's not going to be able to take off unless you have that full throttle going. Same thing with your stock. You're not going to succeed unless you're going at full throttle. You got to go full throttle. What I'm talking about by that is stock promotion. Some of you don't like that word. Some of you think, oh, it's tacky, crude, or whatever. I'm too good for it. I only want to deal with institutions, etc. Let me tell you something. Nobody cares about you. Institutions don't care about you. Most of you guys watching this, if investors don't know that you exist, if a tree falls in the forest, nobody hears it. Did it make a sound? You think you're a big deal because you're running a public company. Now, congratulations. You're now in the Super Bowl of finance. That's right. You're on the field. Okay. You've made it onto the field. The question though is, are you going to fumble? Are you going to fumble the ball? Most of you are fumbling the ball because you're not promoting, or are you going to become a superstar? Okay. The difference between the guy who becomes a superstar and the guy who fumbles the ball and is never done from again simply comes down to stock promotion. I could tell you countless companies I've worked with. They had very little when we started. They had like a slideshow. They basically had a slideshow and a dog. Literally, they were operating out of a garage with a slideshow and a dog and a CEO. Maybe one employee, two employees. And you know what? With proper promotion, getting market awareness, building market support, a little bit of execution, obviously that helps. You got to execute. You got to meet some milestones. Stocks started moving up, and those stocks took off. They increased, whether it was 5x in some cases, 500%, whether it was 1,000% in others, but those stock price increases and the liquidity, the market supports, enable them to raise capital and enable them to make acquisitions of real companies, and they completely transformed the business. Hundreds of millions of dollars worth of shareholder wealth were created, and they hired employees, got jobs. It was a massive success. So you need to get altitude. And by the way, you got less time than you think. You think you have time, you really don't. You don't have time. The clock is ticking. The longer you are as a public company, the longer you're around without getting momentum, you become shelf worn. Investors just they don't want to, they're not interested. It's no longer sexy. It's not interesting. If your company, you're a public company, you've been around 3, 4 years, even 2 years, and yet the stock hasn't moved, hasn't taken off, it becomes known as a dog. Investors think of your stock as a dog with fleas, and it becomes very difficult to move the stock to get any interest. Look, the bottom line is you need promotion in your stock. Now, you know where this is going, right? The best way to promote your stock is with Wall Street Reporter. It is a professional platform, it is proven. We have had more success than anybody else. We invented the format of CEO interviews online. And I've done videos about why our CEO interviews are so powerful in terms of building engagement and an organic following for your stock. You need to build an organic following for your stock if you want to succeed, not just a one-shot pump and dump. We don't do these one-shot pump and dump. We don't do pay-per-click native ads, whatever they call it. We don't do email blast. We have a massive email. We have 100,000 email list, but it's not email blast to move your stock price. It's building an organic following, and we do that with a very sophisticated but simple. It's actually quite a simple program. It's very simple. All we need is really you. Okay, we need you. We need to get you in front of investors. We're going to build your personal brand with investors, build your cult following, and we amplify that with news flow, with content, and we help you go viral. That's how we've done it for all our clients, the ones that went up, whether it was 100%, 200%, 1,000%. We've had a couple hundred baggers, although I can't take credit for those. I really would love to take credit. I can't, because to get to 100x, it does take quite a while. But the 20 baggers, the 50 baggers, 100%, I will take credit. And by the way, you know something? Look, there's a lot of people who take credit for Wall Street Reporter success. There's a lot of, because sometimes some of these companies, they hire other promoters at the same time. But you do realize this, that you can, if you look at the stock charts, you can see what happens when Wall Street Reporter was involved and when we're not. Once we're no longer involved, those stocks, they don't work out that well. And you can see what happens, especially with US volume, OTC volume. There's, see what happens. Once Wall Street Reporter starts with a company, stock takes off, volume explodes. Without Wall Street Reporter, there is no volume. It's very simple. Anyway, look, you need to get altitude, and your attitude determines your altitude. You've heard that. Your attitude determines your altitude. And that attitude is the attitude of promotion. You need to promote your stock. You need to do it on a professional platform that has proven results, a proven track record, which is Wall Street Reporter. Again, nobody out there has delivered more 100x, 10x to 100x gains than Wall Street Reporter. It's just a matter of just a track record. We've been around 180 years. Since 1843, it's a trusted brand. It's been around since 1843, which is probably 200 years longer than most of our so-called competitors. And most importantly, we have an audience that trusts us because of the track record. Again, so many stocks have doubled, tripled, 5x, 10x. You keep hearing me talk about it. You become almost immune to it because there's just so much winning that some people get tired of winning. I hope you don't get tired of winning. Look, if you're ready to take your stock to the top, if you have the attitude to gain altitude, I invite you to get in touch with me, and I'm sure your shareholders will appreciate it. Hopefully you're one of the biggest shareholders, right? So I'm sure your family will appreciate it also. See you at the top, my friends.